All right, we are getting set for the Class D championship game. It's Alexander and Avon, and we're glad to be pleasure to be joined today by Coach Englert and Coach Sawyer. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time with us this afternoon. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'd like to start by just saying, first of all, congratulations on making to this game. Huge accomplishment. Just to get to this championship game, especially with everything that's gone down. Getting through there with only 4 teams making the sectionals. If you could just tell us a little bit about the journey that's taking you guys here, and how it's gone so far for you.
So I'll let Andy start. Go ahead, Andy.
Oh, great. Thanks, Tim. So, the journey's been just crazy. You think about everything these kids have gone through, going from last year into this year, and, not really having an off season. Preparation was a little bit different with doing, these kind of meetings, actually Google Meets. And, we did fun things with Latavius Murray from the Saints. We had Spencer Long from the Bills on with us one night. And then as time goes, you kept on thinking that you were going to have a fall season, and all of a sudden you didn't. And then, kudos to the Section 5 committee and the state organization and just making things happen where all of a sudden you're going to have a season. So a lot of people behind the scenes to be able to let that happen. And, for us, we were just excited to get the opportunity to work together as a team and program. I think it was pretty neat. It gave an opportunity for some different kids to come out for football that you wouldn't usually have. A couple soccer players went out. My football guys, offensive line guys, played soccer. Andrew Round played soccer. We had a bunch of guys. I think we had 9 total that played soccer in their program, and we have a few over to us. And and I think that's pretty neat just to be able to come together and have a season. And it's nice to be able to play the last game of the season of 2021, and be able to have that chance to play. So we're just blessed and lucky to be able to have the chance to be involved and work with the kids and for all of our sports programs. And as an athletic director, I've been on the go quite a bit over the last couple of months, and it's been great just for the kids to have somewhat of a new normal, and all the guidelines that we had to follow through all of our sports and football, and just to have the chance to to have another week and be involved with them. And those kids don't have next week, and they won't have a chance for our seniors after this weekend. It's your season's going to be done, and I think that's really different for a lot of programs. So I think for us, we just I got a great group that has been very dedicated, and I never deal with attendance issue at practices. Everybody's there, they're involved. And we're just lucky to have great coaches within your program. And then I always feel like you're surrounded by great people, that great things can happen. And you look at Section 5 and our football staff and our kids, and we're just lucky to be here. So it's been a fun run, and one more to go.
So I'll jump in there. I think I remember the question.
Sorry about that, Tim.
Oh, no, I didn't mean it that way. I'm laughing because our school district had there was no off-season training at all, no opportunities like that, with the COVID protocol in our district. And I get that, so we couldn't use the weight room. We couldn't go to 7-on-7s, anything like that. The only athletes that could be on campus were the ones in season. So I'm laughing. Andy's saying he had 9 boys playing soccer. We don't have boys soccer at Alexander, but we do have cross country. And our cross country team went from, it's co-ed. So there's a boys team and a girls team, which usually has about maybe 28, 30 kids. So I had 22 football players sign up for cross country, and, it pushed the team over 50 kids. So that was the way they could compete at something, push themselves, justify being on campus training. And so since there's so many kids, the district hired another coach. In this case, it was me as an assistant coach to Mr. Buckenmeyer, who's like this legendary cross country coach and a friend of mine. So we were able to train, as cross country runners from September 21st to pretty much till Thanksgiving time. And, it was clearly a new experience. what's an average play in football last? About 6 seconds. And we have, boys out there running, a little over 3 miles, some of them. And like the B level runners were running what we call one loop, which was, about 1.6 miles. So, it was a new experience for me as a coach. And luckily, we had great weather in the fall for the most part. And, anyways, so then some of those kids, there was no sport after that until I want to say, into mid January here for wrestling and basketball. And then football came about. We had basically 2 weeks notice. I think I found out around Valentine's Day that we were starting on March 1st. And, we just hit the ground running. I think that first week of March, if I remember right, it was about 10 degrees outside. And so basketball was overlapped, so facility use at all of these schools becomes an issue. There were no two-a-days for my program. You're squeezing things into a 2-hour window. You're sharing 10 kids with the wrestling team, 5 kids with the basketball program, and just kind of making do, with the kids that can be there. So I written this down before Andy said it, but I mean, I feel like we're blessed to have a season. His team and my team are heading into our 8th game of the year. We'll take it, and we're very thankful for it. So, in fact, I sent Scott Barker an email today, just thanking him and Section 5 for making this happen. So there's a lot of good people in Section 5 athletics, outside of football. I mean, these ADs, my friend here, the AD here, Rob Adams, just busting their butts since Christmas time. It's nonstop, and we're thankful for the opportunity for sure.
Hats off, coaches, to you. Congratulations on getting to a sectional championship. As you know, it's a challenge to do it in a normal year, and then you got all these challenges of COVID and all the restrictions and the overlap. I live out in Hilton and coaching modified A basketball here, and then trying to coach Wayne. So I feel your pain, but it's awesome. I'm ecstatic to be a part of this game and a small piece of it. Because I usually don't get a chance to see you guys, and you guys do a tremendous job with your program. I've been breaking down film on both of you. The cool thing is it doesn't matter to me who wins. That's the stressless part for me, doing the color commentary. But, the question I have for you guys is, because of all the challenges you do in a normal year, preparing and getting ready for the sectional championship, what are some of the things you had to do differently because of the COVID restrictions, whether it was a locker room situation, like you said, or knowing that quick turnaround from one game to the next was shorter, and how you prepared a little differently with that? Just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, kind of crazy when Tim talked about sharing kids in between. So, you're really going from that 2 kids or your program where, I had wrestlers and basketball players, and when you're splitting and trying to keep cohort groups together, because kids were doing basically multiple practices, and you're trying to keep smaller groups together, so it didn't affect the programs that were going on. And we were lucky with our boys basketball to advance into the finals too, so that extended on for them also. I think in the words of like locker room, we have a locker room, but I think I have 2 kids that might store their stuff. We ended up, doing travel bags and different things on the sideline. I think the change was so different, as time goes. I mean, every game I'm going purchasing cases of water to have on the sideline for the kids. The hand sanitizer, the mask on, cleaning the football, spreading out on the sideline. I think it's been really different, but again, you're able to have the opportunity, so you're going to meet all the guidelines that you can. And, you talk about, not having social or gatherings, group gatherings, and spreading things out and having things outside. Even like practices, when you go to film or field or stuff, you're splitting your groups up because of the number of kids that you can bring together inside. So I think you just got to be creative. And, I'm lucky with coaches that I have in the program. They've been able to very willing to adjust and help out. And, I think the same is that you try to keep your time period and keep your time period organized to get as much done in that period of time and get the kids out and, get them home. So I think, all the stuff from, transportation, myself as an AD, you're looking at bus runs and 2 buses and teams going here and teams going there. I think it takes a full group to be on the same page and support and understand it's not just one group, it's everybody has to be, because you just don't want to, jeopardize, you look at, different things. I think Tim and I both lost games this year through the regular season. And, when you reach out and you're looking at other places and they're saying they got like 6 teams that are, shut down, not going. And, you're kind of like, yeah, do I really want a game this week without, changing over that, you make a decision what's best for your program and your kids. And, we have adjusted all the way through the season, through the final week and just making sure that you get that opportunity to, dress and have everybody together. And, it's been hard and challenging, but, rewarding.
Yeah. For us, one thing that we don't have a turf surface, artificial surface, and our game field tends to be, in the wet season, a little bit wet. On March 1st, I went out there and measured the snow on our field, and it seems like the fence around our stadium, just helps gather all the snow in there. With 22 inches of snow on our field. So, we were fortunate enough. We've got a good relationship with really what used to be our arch rivals over there in Attica. They've been very gracious. We've practiced over there probably 6 or 8 times. Every game for us, we're traveling, even though we're considered the home team. Like we played Avon their week 2. We were the home team, playing there in Batavia. And, shout out to them. Batavia Stadium's been available to my school. It's a wonderful, facility, and we're thankful for people. And all this is happening all across Section 5. One school accommodating another school. And without that flexibility and willingness to share, and these athletic directors and school districts working together, the season really couldn't have happened for a lot of these schools. So, and we're probably one of them. But so it's been unusual to say the least. I feel bad for our seniors. Not to have been able to play a game on their own field this year. But that's minuscule compared to not being able to play the football game at all. So that's been a big change for us. One of the strengths of our program is definitely being prepared and being physically fit. And so that was a massive concern for me and my coaching staff coming into season. Even though, probably a half to 2/3 of our kids were playing basketball or wrestling, that would still leave 40 or 50% that were not. And we were worried, that our injury rate would maybe be up. General injury like pulled muscles, torn hamstring, stuff like that. And fortunately, we haven't really seen that. And then like Andy said, you gotta be creative in your practice plans. We were really strength and fitness oriented the first week of practice, as much as we were, worried about getting the game plan, getting the offense installed, teaching technique, the elements of tackling and tackling safe and all of that. So we were kind of fitness heavy the first week. And we're also, and I don't know, I'd be curious to know what Andy does. I know what some of my colleagues do, I won't mention who, going nearly every day. And especially it's a time crunch when you're playing a football game every 5 or 6 days, like we are this season. I'll tell you what we did, and it has worked as far as not leading to injuries, but we're a big believer in a day of rest, for sure. And so pretty much the day after any game, we did not meet with our athletes this year. And some, you could do that and just do film room. We kind of just even look at it like a mental break. Take that 24-hour period, rest, heal, step away from football, nourish your body. And we have huddle, so our kids are constantly watching film on their own anyway. But it gave my coaching staff that day to put our game plan in, where we didn't feel overwhelmed, like we were working 7 days a week. Our coaching meetings this year were virtual. Normally on Sunday nights, we're in the office, on a normal football season, from whatever, 6 o'clock till, the week is planned out. That was different this year. Andy, I'm sure it says no 7-on-7s. And I have seen, because of that, we've got young quarterbacks in my program. The lack of 7-on-7s and being able to get together and work the passing game. I think collectively across high school football, passing is down a little bit this year because of that. I know it is here. So, you just got to maximize your time, be efficient in your practice plans, and, get the most out of these kids, and all the while keeping them healthy.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, if you even go back to last week, remember last Wednesday it snowed. We had snow on the ground last Wednesday.
Yeah.
So dealing with weather and climate, I think Tim is right on that. That you had to adjust on the fly. You go from 30 degrees to 75 degrees, and then all of a sudden back down. So you did what was best, I guess, safety for all involved.
It's almost like you're, typically in a game like this, you'd be playing in end of October, right? And a lot of times you'll get that snow. We've probably had every season, this whole season, right? I mean, it was cold, it was warm, it was cool. So yeah, I definitely understand that from that perspective. And not having the preseason to get ready, it definitely it slows you down a bit too. So last question for you guys, briefly. COVID season, 6-game regular season. This is the last game of the year. There's no regionals. There's no states. What would it mean to win a sectional championship for your school? I mean, obviously a sectional title is a big thing, but to win it in the COVID season, is there any different significance at this point to be able to do that with all you guys have been through?
I don't think so. I think any season you prepare with a group of kids and you prepare for the best to get to yourself to the end of the season championship wise. I think the hardest thing was, we went from Class C to Class D, and if you look at the schedules, man, it was tough week in and week out. Only 4 teams making it in, having that opportunity to get in there. I think, it was different with all the different guidelines, but I think in anything, each week you got a little bit better. And what Tim was talking about, your throwing, your ball security, your lineman responsibility, Dave talked about the tackling. I mean, you go from things that you've done during camp or preseason to the safety part of that, and then all of a sudden you're right into full swing of things. And next thing you know, you're into a game. So I think, we're lucky to have both of us have great kids and great coaches. And, as weeks go on, you got a little bit better in your technique and skill. We're just lucky to be here. I mean, you are playing in May, and you hit every weather, and you dealt with a pandemic and didn't know if you're going to have a season. And, kids are kids, and they had to adjust their everyday daily job of school and learning in different ways and preparing for practices and the later nights and understanding that things aren't the same as 2 years ago when you played. So I think just lucky to be a part and be around kids, and every kid wears a number, every kid's important, every kid's a person in your program. We were lucky to have 3 levels this year, and I think as a deep program and a tough schedule, I think we prepared each other, to be at this point.
Yeah, I would say with the addition of Avon and Kelmum, Byron Burgeon dropping down into D's this year, that's 2 very good football programs. So, like, from where I'm sitting, when I see that the number requirements for Class D actually rose, I think it was 260 and lower, and it used to be about a 230 and lower cutoff. Like you look at the competition here, like, my gosh, Class D is pretty tough anyways. And then you add Avon and Kelmon, Byron Burgeon to it. But you know what? Iron sharpens iron. My program, will play anybody. It's good to be challenged. And really, we've kind of been doing it with my JV program all these years. A lot of the smaller D schools don't have JV. They'll have like a modified A, 7 through 9. and then their varsities 10 through 12. And we've been able to hold on to a JV team for 9th and 10th graders. But for us to field games all these years, we've been playing Avon, Leroy, Attica, Hornell. And sometimes we win those JV games and sometimes we lose those games. But getting back to playing, you know, a little bigger schools this year, or in this case, this weekend, we've got to play Avon, you know, and they defeated us week 2. I think that, you know, like any team, you know, especially an early season loss, you can, you know, you can remain the same. You can, you know, be overcome by that defeat and fade away, or you can, you know, rise and get stronger from it. And, you know, fortunately, that's the direction my team has gone. We just go week to week here in Alexander, focusing on the next opponent. But having Avon there in the D's and even Cal Mom, Byron Burgett in the D's, I think it makes programs tougher. I think it's, you know, these D schools that are serious about competing in football, you know, it's going to make us better in the long run. So as far as how do you weigh a sectional title, I'm not going to say that this one's any more special than the other years, you know, but it is a special day. It's what you compete for to get to this game, to have a chance to win this game. You know, so we're thankful for that, and for sure. And I don't know, I don't think Andy and I have ever played in a sectional final, but every time we have, I think back in the day we played in a couple of semifinals, you know, and I haven't forgotten that, Andy. So they got the best of us back then. So we're excited. I'm sure we're both excited, you know, to be here. It's neat that both of our programs have suffered a loss this year. You know, I think it makes his kids and my kids understand that any given day you got to show up, you know, be at your best. You got to perform. Anything can happen. I looked at the weather, and you were talking about the weather a minute ago there, Sam. I mean, I think they're talking between 40 and 50 on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to feel like a late October day, which is fine with me. You know, who knows? You know what I mean? Whatever that is, it is. But it's a special day. You know, and we're thankful that we're able to play this game.
Well, gentlemen, we really, really appreciate the time. Thanks for giving us some insight into this game and what you guys have gone through. I know Coach Marina and I really appreciate it, and we're really looking forward to a great game coming up.
All
Yeah,
right,
congrats again, guys. Excited for you, excited for your seniors. Unique situation that you usually don't know when your last game is, and I think it's going to raise the bar for both your programs. So it should be exciting. I'm glad to be a small part of it.
Yeah. Thanks
Well,
for
thanks a
doing this,
lot.
guys.